You need like 1 crore bare minimum to start a store.
What are the challenges that you faced when you were actually building Capsul?
First of all, going to the brands and they're like, is India even a streetwear market? We had to spend a year to convince people. Then we didn't know how to bring in products into the country. It's very tough doing business.
बहुत घिसना पड़ता है to get the more popular brands.
The headroom to grow is significant. $10 billion of streetwear.
For today's episode, we have the powerhouse duo behind India's very first multi-brand retail store, Capsul. These two have a solid legacy at Puma, where they led marketing and creative roles. In 2018, they left their successful corporate careers to build something they're really passionate about. And that's how Capsul was born. And right now, I am in their Bangalore store. And this isn't just a normal retail store, it's a streetwear candy shop. A culture space where art, fashion, music, community collide. So let's dive straight into the conversation with the founders. Welcome to the hood.
Thank you, Suhana.
Thanks, Joanna. Lovely to be here.
So, I really want to know that what made you quit your corporate career, successful careers, and start Capsul?
It's a very easy answer for me. Bhavisha made me leave my corporate career. She had the convincing power, whenever we used to meet during our travels, and I was based out of Salzburg, from 2014 to 2018, heading commercial marketing for Puma, EMEA. And we would meet during our travels, and she would always like, कुछ करते हैं ना, साथ में कुछ करते हैं, ये क्या कर रहे हैं, दूसरे के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, that sort of a vibe was always there. And we were like, okay, what do we do? And then, we started realizing that we were living, eating, breathing streetwear. And we could see that culture is going to hit India in a few years. So we were like, okay, why not, quit our jobs now and start this? That's what happened.
So, Bhavisha, where did this come from?
So while working at Puma, we understood the power of culture brands and how they drive business at scale as well, right? It's not just a marketing strategy. There's an entire business around it. While we were abroad, we saw the entire sneaker culture. The first ever drop of Yeezy happened in India. It was a raffle. People didn't know what a raffle meant. They thought raffle mein matlab jeet gaye juta. Not that you have won the chance to buy a sneaker, right? Simultaneously, because we were living outside of India, a lot of people would reach out to us and say, hey, can you get me that? We would carry stuff back. And we saw a clear white space. We saw white space for these streetwear brands that we realized were integral parts of this entire business of culture. If you have business of culture and you have the fashion expression of it, that is what streetwear is.
Yeah.
We saw that had no players in the Indian market. Literally for us, it was living in a country like India, it's very tough to find a first to do something.
Yeah.
And I think it was almost serendipitous that we decided to quit our jobs. And mind you, we loved our jobs. Like I felt like I was born to do what I did, in my corporate life. So it wasn't an easy decision at all. To leave the kind of jobs and the kind of opportunities that we had, move back to India and start Capsul. The conviction we continue to have in the Indian market is what got us to start Capsul.
And that's what from here I really want to know. Okay, it's so scary, right? Because you have like career of what, 15 years or more than that at Puma?
No,
8 years.
7 years.
9 years.
So, but you had like something already there, like a permanent salary coming into your account. So how did you face that fear of literally कि मुझे अब ये छोड़ना है and I want to start something new?
First year was easy. Everything we used to think in euros. अच्छा ये t-shirt खरीदना है, euro में calculate करो. It used to be much easier then. But after the first year and when the luxury of the saved money sort of was, phasing off, is when it hit us. And we were just starting Capsul. So when we approached brands and when we started actually calculating how much money is required to start a shop, store, and that to a retail store, because you got to get the inventory from your own money. That's when it was like, oh wow, this is reality. And then we started doing a lot more culture consultancy work. We put together the funds to start Capsul and, then approach brands. And that was a longish process then because it was 2018. India was not known as a market at all. Like the founders were surprised that we were even talking about starting a store in India. So we started an IP called Word on the Street, did about 23 editions of that pan-India. Like we took it to Aizawl, to Kochi, and not only to the metro cities. Yeah, we documented all of that. A lot of our friends who now have like very successful brands sort of like use that as a springboard to do their first pop-ups, you know. And like jaywalking, like we became friends because his first 3 pop-ups happened at Word on the Street with us. We documented all of this, took it to big trade shows like Agenda, Complex Con, presented the whole documentation presentation
the India
to the
story rather, to the brand founder.
To the India story, to the brand founders. That's when Mike Sherman was the first person to say, hey, I want to be onboarded on your platform.
Mike Sherman is the founder of then Chinatown Market, now Market. And he's actually, I don't know how many people know this, but he's the guy behind Ronnie Fike's Kith logo.
Oh.
He's designed a lot of the Kith New Balance collabs. Yeah.
He had a very interesting brand called ICNY before he started Market, Chinatown Market, which is now Market. And he was so kind to us because he introduced us to about 4 or 5 more brands. And that's when Capsul as a online store started with 5 brands,
And for how long? So 2018 you started the consultancy thing. For how long did you continue it before you actually launched the store?
I think March of 2019 we launched the store, so I would say a little more than a year.
Yeah.
Till then we had to play around, right? Like we
studied the market before that.
We also spoke to our friends who have stores in other markets and other countries, got like one brand, one style, one size, not even an entire size run, just to understand, that's not the right way to go about it, I would say now, but that was the only access we had, so we got that and we sort of made streetwear available. So it was a price point testing. At that time we were like 2,500 rupees, who's going to buy a t-shirt? But we saw great success, right? Because I think people, even though we weren't a streetwear market at that time, some people knew the niche, knew the market, knew the brands, so it was a very scary thing. I think it was about the challenge we knew was always there. We didn't think that we'd be an overnight success the minute we launched. Like that was always a fear, but I think that was a challenge we were ready to face. So we had that for 1 year. We did all of this stuff, and then eventually, I think March of 2019, we launched our .com, shopcapsul.com. Our first store only came about, though, a year and a half after that, in 2021 of November, which is this store.
Yeah.
We took advantage of lowered rents during COVID, and we were able to score this gorgeous place.
So tell me the one thing, you're talking about how the capital that you need to start a store. So what is that amount?
I can't put a number to it. Like I don't think we will be able to put a number to it. It totally it's very easy to calculate. How many brands do you want to start with? There is a certain depth, like a minimum depth of products that you need to have to sell. So just like, and when you are a retailer, you get all those products on wholesale sort of like rates from the brands. So it's a very easy calculation, but I would say like when we had started, each of the brands had MOQs, right? Like you had to buy at least worth $5,000 or $10,000. Like this was the minimum that was set by the brand. So these are, so again, like, so you can calculate, like if you want to start with say 10 brands and each of the brands have like a minimum order value of $10,000, there you go. That's like the minimum to sort of like plow into the inventory, and then like, running costs are separate. So
what she's saying, right? You need at least 10 brands if you want to do a multi-brand store. So assume like anywhere between 30 to 50 lakhs worth of inventory of those brands. Plus, if you're going to be an online only store, I think it's very, very challenging. So to do an offline store, depending if it is Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, what the per square foot rent is. In a Bombay, Delhi, it's anywhere between like 500 to 700 rupees per square foot. In a Bangalore, it could be 300 rupees a square foot. Then where you get your space, so you'll need that much money plus, at least 6 to 8 months of deposit in a place like a Bombay or a Delhi, So you need like 1 crore, it's bare minimum today, to start a store.
Got it.
With product and having an actual store setup, and I'm also being on the sort of lower side, right? It's a very basic setup. You'll have your capex, you'll have your, you'll end up doing like the fit out of your store and things like that. On an average, a fit out of a store is 2,000 rupees per square foot. You don't even know where it goes. I'm talking electricals, I'm talking like flooring, I'm talking basic work, civil work. 2,000 rupees a square foot is bare minimum.
And by when do you think, how much time does it take to make profit?
So they say give retail 1,000 days.
1,000 days.
1,000 days is the thumb rule when it comes to retail. You know,
Is
we've
that
gone
only for offline or
offline.
offline?
Offline.
Offline.
Online is a very different beast altogether, right? But again, online is also,
The investment will also be less online.
you know, people say that, but I don't believe that. You know,
Yeah?
you know, brick and mortar versus online. I don't think like the amount of investment you will have to make, because you know, a person who walks into your store, physical retail, versus one person is probably equivalent to like 500 people who go and visit your online shop. You know, that's just how it works, right? Because you have so many offerings to you digitally versus a person taking the trouble to actually come into your store and leaving with a tactile feeling. You know, and that's the whole digital versus analog comparison.
Footfall versus impressions?
Yeah, exactly. And probably my number is still it's actually a much larger number. And that is the fact of things, right? The way you have to stand out, you have to work with influencers, things like that. Whereas if you are, for example, our store in Bombay, you know, the facade that we have in Bandra, that in itself, still we are able to drive a much larger new audience into our store. People who otherwise would not have known about us. Even the fact that we are where we are here, you know, the number of people who just come in by virtue of our surroundings, the other shops here, that is unbeatable. Like, even if I try and target that kind of an audience online, I will not get that.
Got it.
You know, so online also comes with its own set of costs, which a lot of people think don't exist, but it very much exists. You know, I'm just talking about discovery. Let's talk about the cost of doing business. Someone walks into your store, you have a pure conversion, you've done that one sale, that customer is very likely to come back. Versus online. Online, you know, people in this country, it's very tough doing business. People will purchase online, then they will just return the product at the time of delivery. A lot of times we've been at the receiving end where they have damaged the product while opening, and then they will try and pass it back to make it look like we have sold them a defective product.
And what
You
do
know,
you do in that case?
scams.
Yeah.
The number of scams you face. We have sent our product, and we have, like, you know, cameras, and we've got proper footage and, you know, proper visual proof of what product we're sending. But the number of times we've been at the receiving end where we've sent a capsule product and we've got, you know, a fake product in return multiple times. So online comes with the cost of doing business online is huge, and a lot of people need to know about it. You know, you'll see about a lot of stories on Instagram as well about this, the number of returns, the number of fake scams that you're subject to. So I think business is business. There's a cost of doing business. And I don't think we live at a time where it is online versus offline as much as it is an omni-channel play now.
But do you think both are important?
Very. Like, I can't even think of it any other way. You have to have an online presence, you have to have an offline presence.
I mean,
someone
for the
has to
people who
start.
don't have stores, they do multiple pop-ups, right? That becomes their offline touch point. So you got to be offline as well, whether it's a brand like Tricot, which is doing so well in the UK and Europe, right? Or like, say, like independent brands like Almost Girls, Jaywalking, Capsul ourselves, like the word on the street was sort of devised as a pop-up mechanism for us when we didn't have stores. So if you're not going to the customers, a lot of people don't enjoy online, or they would not even, like, you know, understand your product unless you make them touch and feel.
So basically, if you're starting like a streetwear brand or anything which is a multi-store brand, along with online, you should definitely have an offline presence.
You know, that's actually talking from a point, like, we can't say that this is what needs to be done, but I think offline at some point in time has to be part of your strategy, because that gives you credibility, that shows that you're legitimate. You know, that is a trust marker.
Got it.
I don't know how many people can just do that, because it is an expensive proposition. You know, so it's not like it's prohibitive doing offline, but I'm just saying that if someone is serious about their brand, that has to be somewhere on the cards within the first 3 to 5 years.
Got it. We're coming back to Capsul. How do you describe it? Like, what does Capsul mean to you?
Really?
Wow. I'm like 8 years to be distilled in one line.
It's tough, but like, since we were talking about offline and versus online, like so Capsul for us is an ecosystem, first of all, you know, and we didn't build Capsul as a store. We built Capsul, or we are still building Capsul as a cultural checkpoint, you know. It's not like sneakers or streetwear, like they didn't exist in India, but there was no access, you know, there was no access, and we sort of built that bridge, you know, to bring in the products, and that is how Capsul came to be. But yeah, this question is like,
Yeah. So Capsule to me
it's
is
a heavy
simple,
question.
like it's a two-part entity. We are a multi-brand store with online and offline presence, and we are a culture of, whether it is content, whether it's community. Our stores are envisioned as third spaces. The idea is to be a point, like I love what she said, right? Cultural checkpoint. It's a place where people can come in and belong. We want to encourage people to, for us, streetwear is the fashion expression of youth culture. We want to encourage people to dress well. Even if they're going, like your everyday fit can still be, it's not about brands, it's not about what price points. It's just about encourage people to dress fresh. So that in essence is what Capsule is. We want to be the entry point for what went on with contemporary fashion in India during this period of time. And you look at our archives to look at what went on at that time. Someone recently described us as an archive of what happened with Indian contemporary, where there was India, like a two-way street, right? From India to the world and the world to India at this point in time, and we will continue. That's who we are in an essence.
Yeah, we are two-way street. That's a nice way to put it. But like, it's not only for the consumer side, even from the brand side, we want to be that platform where brands feel that, hey, I want to be represented by a platform like Capsule, because the kind of community that we are building, hype dies, but community doesn't die. So the kind of community that we are building and the type of, the touch and feel and the communications that we are building through whatever we do, whether it's marketing, whether it's how we platform products, the brand should also feel confident enough in us to sort of like come and say that, hey, why don't we work together?
Yeah.
That's what we are.
So, how do you do that? As you said, that more than a retail store, it's a culture space. How does that happen?
Mind is a wild space, like I think हम लोग का दिमाग हर समय ऐसे कुछ चलते रहता है अंदर, multiple machines. कभी ये Bhavisha तो like she's next level, like the number of ideas that she'll have in a day. And I'm not that person. I'm like पहले एक काम खत्म कर लो. I am a multitasker, but मेरा ये है कि एक काम खत्म कर लो फिर next पे focus करो. She is like boom 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 boom, ये करते वो करते वो करते. That is what goes on between us. And then we have a very small team, but we have a very nice team. So they also sort of like want to do as many things which can become different touch points. Like for example, last weekend we had a supper club inside our Bandra store. The idea of doing a full-fledged 5-course meal was a bit scary for us, but when we actually did it, people...
Mind you, in a store with no kitchen, that was what was scary.
How did you do that then?
So people will ask, why? What is this meaning of having like a supper club inside the store, right? It's again giving people a different experience, that the clothes that you've bought from us, where all do you wear them? You wear them to our supper club and then we party together, But we collaborated with this very cool restaurant called Love Restaurant. They're from Lokhandwala in Bombay. And it was a 5-course meal that was designed around global street art. And that is why the connection and the storytelling was very important. Like global street art, those artists have huge impact in the streetwear world. And why are we doing this inside a Capsule store? It all came together and made sense at the end of the day. So it was like 22 people only, 2 sittings happened. It was very interesting, like, very warm, very different, very cultural, sort of like a take on experiences that a streetwear store can provide.
And I think this is how you build it, right?
Yeah, and to your question of how do we do this, right? I don't think we know any other way. Honestly, for us, it has to be important to push the boundaries and do things that we are excited by. So a lot of it is driven by what we love to do. And that is very scalable, right? Because there's just so many experiences one can curate and create and make available to a lot of people. And today, we live in a time where a store is not just a store. I keep coming back to it being a third space. Today we want to host a workshop. It's not too difficult. We've got the space. We've got the community. We've got the communication channels. If we want to do anything, to activate and make it possible is just very, very, very easy.
Yeah.
It's always challenging to sort of like put that out online as well, Sorry,
It's about that curiosity. I think what drives it is how we are as people, how we end up driving, attracting the kind of people who work in our teams. A teammate can come and say, hey, could we host a workshop like this? And boom, we have a 3D workshop happening, right?
Yeah.
It's literally like that. And I feel like that childlike curiosity is very, very essential.
Yeah.
it may, people are like, तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो? क्या चल रहा है? But it makes us happy, and we know that this is all building towards a platform and a space that is creating impact in our country.
Yeah.
When people come into our stores who are world traveled and compare us to like global stores that we look up to me that's like, clearly we're doing something right. When people hear about us in Japan, to me that's like we're doing something right, so
yeah, that definitely is, and as you rightly said, I feel that it's like two curious minds coming together, and that's how you can actually start something from scratch. That's how passion comes alive. You need to be curious enough to really build something and keep creating it again and again, because you need to stay relevant as well.
So right? Honestly, Suhana, it is really, really, really tough.
Yeah.
Like, let nobody be under any fake assumption that doing what we're doing or what anybody else in our space is doing, or for that matter, any business is easy. Not at all. It's not about privilege or it's not about anything else. It is tough doing business in India. You have to, and the toll it takes on family, and our families are there to support us. And for that, we are supremely grateful. Families and friends are always there to support us. It's not easy.
So what are the challenges that you faced when you were actually building Capsul? What are the biggest challenges?
First of all, going to the brands and they're like, is India even a streetwear market? We had to spend a year to convince people. Then we didn't know how to bring in products into the country. So you figure all of that out, Then you figure out capital. A multi-brand store needs a lot of capital.
How did you do that? Did you have funding or it was?
No, so we started, because we're both marketers, we started working with brands to do culture consultancy. So we also have something called Capsul Studios, where we make merchandise like B2B, whether we will do, merchandise, commerce, whether we do content or whether we do community events and stuff like that. That's something that actually allowed us to get our seed capital ready to be able to actually procure goods and have a multi-brand store,
Okay. So it's not that your family supported you in terms of money and all, so you basically build that up by working simultaneously.
We didn't have that cushion actually. Like it was not possible for our families to financially support us there. But like, in the later days, like thoda bahut jab paisa chahiye hota hai, then you look up to your father, or Bhavisha is like, Dhruv is there to sort of sometimes like support us. But you can't like put them under this pressure all the time, right?
Yeah, that's so true.
But I think I wouldn't shy away from saying that, especially in the retail, multi-brand retail scene in India, right? The bigger names that are there, they come from families where if they go to a brand, for example, say a Nike or Adidas, their name is enough. हम लोग को बहुत घिसना पड़ता है.
That is true.
बहुत घिसना पड़ता है to get the more popular brands. Streetwear was much more easy. Like the independent brands, which was very easy to get because they understand culture. They don't care where are you coming from. They sort of look for people who can represent them well. While the bigger brands, they sort of like look for the names and what is your financial backing, right? So that is a huge challenge in our journey. That's been a pretty tough one.
And was there a moment where you felt like things will fall apart and like this is
Those moments come all the time.
Yeah?
Even now, they will always come. But I'll tell you one thing.
How do you deal with it?
Running a business solo is always tougher than running it with a co-founder. And there have been times, I cannot stress this enough, and I know I speak for Meenakshi as well. Having a co-founder on the same wavelength is a massive support. Somehow you guys are synced well enough where I'm thinking about whether this is what are we doing, she'll be like, no, Bhavisha, this is the right, and vice versa, right? So having that co-founder is great. And then, we've now been at this for a few years. Somehow or the other, some story will come about from our customer, confirming why we're doing what we're doing. And when you have to step back and look at what you have achieved so far, and those milestones are very important to not just commemorate, but also be available at the back of your head to draw strength upon, So it is tough, and I think as every business grows, every time, like, we had a setback. We opened an Ahmedabad store, we had to close it in less than a year. So those kind of things have to be there. But, when times are tough, one step at a time, pull yourself out of it, because we genuinely believe in what we are creating, the platform that we are creating. Brands like Stylo Label are proof that we are so happy to be able to build what we're building. And, it's we draw our strength as well from Capsul.
But brands भी बहुत, you have to build relationships when you are actually building a business. हमें तो brands ने भी support किया. Like sometimes if you falter on say payment on time, if you have not built the right relationship with the brand, it'll never work. So all these things come together. Like you have to pull up your socks again and again and say, oh, how do we sort of like come up, get over this hurdle. You'll have to be innovative in your ideas. You'll have to suddenly, like, even if you have stores, you'll have to suddenly do a pop-up in some third city and say, let's get the cash in from there. So you'll have to come up with innovative ideas, do more media-based things, work with the brands closely to make more things happen. I think that is how you go through these hurdles in a setup like ours, which is trying to run retail.
But any business for that matter, it takes time. Those quick fly-by-night or super quick successes are great, and I'm glad for them. But everything takes time to really build into a stable business that can literally be your legacy. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to build our legacy.
Not only one thing, with the sneaker and streetwear hype scene, sort of, people are saying that it's falling out or becoming low. How do you stay relevant? And how do you feel like just now we were discussing when I entered the store, Bhavisha was saying, that time pe the hype was so cool and this much how we sold at the Bombay event. So now, do you feel that are people still buying? Is the hype dead? Is the hype there?
The one good thing was that we were never a reseller. We were always official stockists. So we were never in that place where we were taking a product that was just not available and then selling it at a premium. So we've never been a hype reseller. We've always been curating entire product ranges with always the intention of making this category of fashion available and accessible to people.
Got it.
To me, I call streetwear and the way we curate streetwear the power dressing of the casual wear world. And I've always said this, right? People want to dress like power dress when it comes to like boardrooms or whether the equivalent is at weddings and stuff like that. Why can't everyday dressing be that? So streetwear is the power dressing of the casual wear world, and to an extent, if you just take a look around the products that you have here and that you can see in the store, these are pieces that fit naturally in anybody's closets. We've had people who are CEOs of company who are coming and shopping with us for their office outbound, or we have people who are shopping for birthdays, or we have people who are buying just like regular, they have a monthly budget for Capsul. So the hype market may have affected the volume of purchase, perhaps, but it doesn't sort of take away from the fact that we are still such a small, like we've not even been able to scratch the surface. According to me, there was this report that Ant Strategy, which is PwC's strategy arm, and Hypebeast actually came out with a few years ago, and I think that's still a great sort of guardrail. It said that 10% of your casual wear market is streetwear. And I'm talking about, the kind of streetwear we're talking about. So by that virtue, India should be at what, like, I don't know, like $10 billion of streetwear.
That's a good market.
That's the potential. We are probably not even at like 300, 400 million. So the headroom to grow is significant. Think about it here. We're still coming from a time where, the unorganized market is now moving. We used to be what, like 90%, 95% unorganized. That's already, is becoming lesser and lesser. So there's a step up happening in terms of people's purchasing powers. They say India 1 alpha is the size of Mexico or something. That's 17 million people. That is going to go up. By 2030, there's going to be 100 million people, 100 million households that are going to be like, earning 30 lakhs and above. So the India story is extremely bullish. Like, we are very bullish on the India story. We're extremely bullish on India's buying power and, the kind of brands that we can curate. And I think the storytelling has to be important.
That's so true.
So I still think that there is massive room to grow. And Meenakshi says it really well, every street has all these ethnic shops. We're going to see a lot more of casual wear coming up in that space.
But that's what I think.
The chalk of casual wear.
But जो hype dying wala situation है, it has actually given space for a lot of homegrown brands to come up. The hype period sort of like let a lot more people know sneakers is a thing. Streetwear is a type of fashion that we should sort of like invest in, right? And then people were spending a lot more money then. But when that phase died down, the space of homegrown brands came up, right? And it's going to be part of your wardrobe anywhere. Like if you are into streetwear, if you love oversized thick GSM hoodies and t-shirts, you will look for more brands. Probably you're not going to spend the reselling prices, but you will want more brands in your wardrobe, and that has become your style. So that fashion stays, you know. Hype has died, but that's what, like I said, now hype dies, but like community stays, right? So your streetwear, your sneaker community just stays and grows, like, you know. So that's not going anywhere. In fact, like in the long term, it's better for a lot more brands and platforms like us, because we've built, in fact, when we started, the kind of brands that we got in were the brands that we couldn't find in India when we were looking for them. That's how our curation started first. Now as the brand and the business grows, you have to lean into the data as well. What do the people want? ऐसा नहीं हो सकता हर समय कि जो मीनाक्षी भविशा को अच्छा लगता है वही buy कर रहे हैं. We will have to buy 200 black color pocket tees from Carhartt, because that will sell any day. And then what we like all over printed shirt, which somebody can wear on a cruise, that is something that will be part of the curation. But you will have to lean into the data and buy things that people want, But yeah, like this whole non-hype phase is actually good for the business for a lot more people.
We're super bullish on the India consumption story and India.
I think that is very well said when you said that it gives more space for homegrown brands to grow.
Oh yeah.
I feel a massive growth. I feel, as you said, that same here, my thoughts on India is like very bullish, that we have a lot of power of spend and buy as well. And now with the Jordan hype, I think they've come aware, there is still a demand for more and more.
I mean, honestly,
whether it's sneakers, whether it's street, it's like an everyday wear.
Look at what Almost Gods is doing, right? Like the expanse they have in their offering. You have brands like Margin, Prakhar, you have Outbreak, just doing such amazing stuff. Jaywalking, right? Like everyone's doing. Footwear mein Theli, what Theli is doing is fantastic. Today there is an amazing bag brand called Arcake. Just look at their bags. There is Notice doing home decor.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
Phenomenal, the number of homegrown brands, and I think, just we hope that there are a lot more of these coming up.
पहले hype phase में ना जो influencers हैं, sneaker influencer.
But tell me one thing which I wanted to ask you, pehle bhi we were discussing, that when you have that fall or a setback, how do you deal with it emotionally? Because in your mind, I think there's a lot that negativity keeps happening.
अरे बहुत कुछ करना पड़ता है. आप मंदिर जाओ, if you're spiritual, आप जाके देवी माँ के पैरों में सर पटको. Yeah, I do that. You have to do a lot of things. I started my yoga class and I can't stress enough. That has helped a long way. Yeah, like 4 days yoga every week. There's this amazing teacher called Neerav from Rishikesh. That helps me a lot. You have to do multiple things. Like otherwise, you will BP issues आएंगे, problems आएंगे, health issues आएंगे. Like as a founder with limited resources, there are a lot of challenges you go through, right? And then both of us, like, she makes me do Tai Chi during the day. She herself, has to be disciplined to follow a certain workout routine. If you don't do all of that, you will fall apart. ये करना पड़ता है.
That is very interesting to know, because as a person, as a founder, when you're starting a business, you have everything goal set, all that is there. But what you're doing for your personal mental health.
And you're never on off. You don't have any holidays as founders. But you have to plug in these moments of discipline, which sort of then takes care of, your health a lot. Because emotional well-being is very, very important. Mental well-being is very important.
And physical well-being.
Yeah.
Like
Are you
working out.
into spirituality or
So I think
religious?
most important thing is working out, right? And this is something that I've seen. When you wake up, if you get certain number of orders, you're happy when you wake up in the morning. Then you feel like you have all the energy. Oh, my workout's going to be awesome. And then there are days when you don't get those certain number of orders. But those are times when it's important to go and get that workout in. Because it's very important to be able to disconnect, and you have to do all of that to strengthen your body and your mind, and then that helps you understand the larger perspective. And literally about, when things are not going your way, it's about learning to take one step at a time. So everyone talks about, oh, what is your 3-year plan, what is your 5-year plan, blah blah blah. But when things are not that great, it's about one day at a time. You get through that one day, you get through the next day, and you have to keep going on and on. Starting your own business is not just time pass, only successes dekha to that's it. You know, you have to be there, and it is cyclical. You know, you will see some downs. You have to wait till you see the ups, and it goes on and on.
But do you practice something at home, something that keeps you centered and keeps
For me, my working out is really important, you know.
that gives
and
you
I've seen that when I go and I work out, and sometimes it's a challenge to be able to go because you just don't feel like it. But when you go and then somehow you just come out of it and you just feel like you can take on the world. Yeah.
And I think this is very important. What I think both of you said, it's a mixture of workout on your body and your mind, whether it's following a religious path or being spiritual or through meditation. It like really aligns you and gives you that inner strength to deal with when there is a setback or a failure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even for the team members, you know, it's very important for our retail people to do something of their interest during the day. Like, you know,
how do you ensure that they do that?
we encourage them, and I think we are pretty lenient when it comes to like taking off because, you know, on sick days and all of that. So that's important to understand your
non-sick
team.
days also,
On
Meenakshi.
non-sick days also. But like it's important to understand, they're young people at the end of the day. It's important to understand and work in hand with them so that they're able to contribute better, and like they need to also like always think about themselves as well, right? Like if you have a hobby, if you want to be a DJ, and it's not like our stores have like footfall through the day. So utilize the time, read, do something, practice that dance step that you were not able to do. You know, so do photography. Quite a few of our team members sort of like have these kind of hobbies which we encourage for them to practice.
I think for us, no, I think it's, we have the intention to try and add value to people's lives. I think it still comes back to how we are as people. You know, if our intent is to add value to people's life, I think that will come through in the way we look at stuff. Yeah.
And that creates a very good ecosystem to even work with.
Yeah.
They will be more passionate and they will give their, I think, more than 100%. When you feel like you are being taken care of, they really care for you and not just your working hours sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So on that note, I want to ask you that what is that one advice you want to give to someone who wants to start his or her own venture?
A venture in any category?
Any category. Or mainly street sneaker space, but yeah.
See, it's a great alternative to an MBA is what I would, let's put it that way, right? So if that is the intent with which you just want to learn on the job, because it's great. You will learn so many things that you probably won't even learn if you do an MBA or a proper professional course. So that could be one way to look at it. Or if you really genuinely want to do it, like be prepared to give it 5, 7, 10 years of your life, you know? So you have to be in it for the long term, right? You know, sure, there are lots of people who can start businesses because it's literally like a copy of something else. Sure. My personal sense is that, you know, I would always recommend that you start something that has some sort of authenticity, some sort of uniqueness. And you know, it doesn't only have to be in streetwear and sneakers. You could literally become a manufacturer. You could literally provide content services to someone in the business. You could provide, you know, the entire fashion ecosystem has lots of aspects in the entire supply chain, value chain. Pick one. It doesn't only have to be about building a brand and putting a product out there.
Got it.
Because it's not that easy to just put a product out there season after season. And you know, literally figure out a way from 0 to 100 crore.
My advice will be for the creative ones. I mean, because I graduated from NFT and I know so many entrepreneurs come out of that college. Find a co-founder, you know, and sort of like a trustworthy co-founder who can help you manage the business or manage the finances, or have a CFO on board from day one. We learned ourselves, like we had CAs from day one, but like our CFO entered our lives to save our lives much later, you know. So this is very, very important as businesses. Like finance and creativity have to go hand in hand together ahead. Very, very important for any creative entrepreneur out there.
Got it. I think that's like a very, very important point that people can think of
Yeah.
when they're starting their own business.
Yeah.
And now, my last question. Where do you want to take the Indian street culture in the next few years with Capsul?
I would love to see a capsule outside of India, multiple capsules outside of India in
One city, if you given a choice, that's
New York.
I was about to say that. I knew it somehow, like she got to the New York.
You know, it's very interesting. A lot of people have actually even come into our stores Indian diaspora primarily, living outside in other countries, are like, what would it take for us to open a capsule franchise? Or how could we partner with you guys and have you all open a store there? So,
but how will it be different from there's so many stores?
My vision, my vision personally is to first of all grow to a certain scale where we are, and I think Bhavisha obviously thinks we are in sync when it comes to our vision. International stores definitely great, but like in India itself, like the kind of platform that we want to be, if we are able to give space and a business platform to say 40-50 homegrown brands and help them grow their business, is where I want our first milestone to be like that, and then take it international.
I think
because India to the world will happen when we have enough homegrown brands that we can take outside India. So that is
I would say then 50 homegrown brands, then go to 100 brands at some point in time, international shows.
Yeah, that's it. Homegrown brands, if you're listening, if you have a unique idea, these are your people. Come to them. Because they're going to go global now.
But the problem is there are so many brands, like probably 300 plus brands in
How
the
do you choose?
quote
What is the
unquote
criteria if a brand wants to come to you?
So I mean, सबसे पहले तो when they're writing to us, capsule का spelling सही लिखते हैं तो then it's a tick mark. अगर CAPSULE लिखते हैं तो
yeah, I mean that's basic, yeah.
तो ये तो हमारा like एक tick off हो जाता है. But apart from that, what we look for is unique design proposition and the potential of the brand to sort of like have a continuity in their drops. There are a lot of brands who just start because t-shirt का ज़माना चल रहा है तो t-shirt brand बना दिया. मेरे father की export factory है तो t-shirt बना दिया. And then it looks like a Me Too brand. A lot of them,
मतलब अगर logo निकाल दिया, it looks like everything is the same thing. That brand has to be able to, like without the name being visible, we should be able to tell that it has to be a.
अगर आपके पास resources हैं और आपके family ने factory start की है तो आप उसको utilize करो and like make it like something worthwhile your effort as well. Because the country is large, population is large, we have space for so many more brands. But everybody will then, where is that identity? What is that identity of your brand? What is your story? That sort of calls to us. And then we say, hey, let's work together.
Yeah. We've actually even started this thing where we offer 100 square feet of space for brands. Because, the true test of a brand is when people come in, touch and feel and can actually see your brand. And then if they are able to choose it from amongst multiple places, right? We have stores. We have a store in Bandra. One of the best places to have a store in the country, right? So because we have a good sized store, 100 square feet is available for people to rent for a pop-up. So then it's up to brands whether they want to make that investment and figure out if they want to use that space and that opportunity to really sell their product to people. And so that's something that we actually have as a platform. They can reach out to our customer care and book that space, 100 square feet of space inside our stores.
Oh, nice. That's like a really good concept for any brand to come and at least showcase and have an opportunity to test the market.
Exactly.
Before they can go on. Ki chal bhi rahe ki nahi.
Exactly.
But the capsule is not snooty. We pick and choose because curation is the king for us, like we want any customer who walks into to our store also to say that, oh, curation looks great, or like they would love buying when they like the curation. While for the brands who are approaching us, it's not like hum sabko na hi bol rahe hain. It's not like that. We want more brands, but the brands also have to be at par with the international curation that we have.
We also have a duty to the customer base, a community that we have curated, right? Like they are looking to us to show them what's next. So it has to sort of pass through certain filters. And if we are giving space to certain brands, it comes at the cost of removing brands and giving them space. Yeah. So that has to be kept in mind.
Got it.
Yeah. एक मैं बात बोल रही थी वो हाइप वाले चीज़ पे कि जब हाइप वाला सीजन चल रहा था सारे इन्फ्लुएंसर्स एक जैसा साउंड करते थे. ये जॉर्डन आया सब लोग वही बात कर रहे हैं. कोई भी कोलैब प्रोडक्ट आया सब वही बात करते सारे इन्फ्लुएंसर्स. अभी नॉन हाइप फेज में आप देखो लाइक द काइंड ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंसर्स and the media channels that they are becoming is very interesting to see their evolvement. That is also like this whole non-hype phase is helping that as well. Like every category is growing simultaneously. That's very interesting to see.
You're exploring kya bolna hai which is non-hype but could be something which is unique,
Yeah.
something which is creative that can add value to them.
Yeah.
Like look beyond the hype.
And do more R&D, right? Like you guys do so much more research now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to, because there is so much more than hype. Right?
Yeah.
I feel that hype is not dead. It's just we're just evolving.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah. 100%.
Different things become hype at different points in time.
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah.
अभी latest क्या था? Labubu.
वो तो अभी थोड़ा time हो गया.
Yeah, I think I too gifted Labubu, but it's called hype. क्या है उसमें? I didn't understand. It was just like that thing got blown up on the internet, and then everyone wants that one thing. Is it more in India that people just follow that?
No,
that one
not at
person
all.
is doing it, we all want to do it.
You know, when we've traveled to places like in Singapore and Hong Kong and stuff like that, they have like full-on pop mart stores, and you should see the chill way in which people have come in, and these are all art pieces. Okay, so you have a Hirono collab with Pop Mart, and doesn't only have to be the Labubu figure. There's a ton of figures, right? And just these beautiful ways in which the art is showcased. The different products are sold. It's not just that one product. Monsters maybe sirf Labubu bik raha hai. Like there's so many more items from Pop Mart that are available, but just not just that one thing. You know, it's an entire collection, and it's become a culture. The way, so I remember going into the store, and blind boxes is a concept, right? Across multiple different figurines, right? And we saw one couple, 2-3 stores. In fact, we landed up going to the same thing, and we heard them like shaking the box, and we struck up a conversation. What exactly are you guys doing? Then they explained to us that these are the different options. We're trying to gauge from the sound of it what it could be, to then be able to pick up a blind
Because
box.
किसी
and figure that.
Different?
No, because किसी के
There
हाथ
are
में spear
elements
है,
to it,
right?
right?
Like, the toys have like that series had किसी के हाथ में spear था, किसी के हाथ में कुछ और था. Like so, like with the sound, they figured out that this could be that particular character.
So it's not just like, it didn't look like they were just buying it to flip it. You know, the idea was literally they were genuine collectors.
But I don't. India में ऐसा है क्या? I think
अभी
Not yet.
buying because
Not yet.
people-
अभी तो जो बिकता है वो ही भर भर के बिकता है. But I think that has to, like that genuine. So recently we have this property called Capsul Talks, which is where we feature a lot of interesting people who are doing cool stuff. And we featured this guy Jash. He is, like I said, he does visuals for EDC and Coachella and stuff like that. And their entire process, like I'm talking about visuals for like live events and stuff like that. And a lot of their inspiration comes from anime and movies and stuff like that. And the kind of collectibles they have is next level. Right? So this is not coming from buying hype. This is genuine interest, and they're literally building out their entire collectibles wardrobe, so as to speak. And we have those kind of people. I think it has to go from whether this is just a status or whether it is something you're doing to flip to make money, to genuinely, I like this is my personality, this speaks of my personality, and I curate it as an extension of my personality. I think that's the shift that is happening, and we will continue to see it happen, and there's a lot more space for that.
And I think that is where brands like you, creators, come in place, where you have to inform people, because there's no information also. Like,
Yeah.
क्या है ये brand?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
So once they are informed, and the next step is once they see it visually, that's when the interest will start.
Correct,
This fandom is built over years, you know, like if the product, whether it's a t-shirt from the streetwear category or it's the collectible from your home goods category, if it calls to your inner child, you know, it should belong to you. That needs to be like that culture, sort of like that gets built over years.
And it's okay to invest in something that makes you happy. Like we know people who collect different matchbox art is so interesting. People collect, like, if you just look at matchboxes, we know a couple of people in Bangalore itself who collect different matchboxes.
Oh, and people
Matchbox-
design and sell it.
No, just collecting different
जैसे
matchboxes.
stamps मिलते हैं ना world over, वैसे आपको different types of matchboxes मिलते हैं ना. If you're traveling to other countries, you pick up match. Even in India, a lot of brands sort of release different art pieces, like artworks at the back of the matchbox.
That is so cool.
I think it just has to be like, design is so beautiful. Just, pay attention to that design, and you'll find lots of avenues to build your own little curation around it.
Yeah.
Your favorite homegrown sneaker brand?
Kelly.
3 pieces you would recommend from Capsul.
Carhartt pocket tee, biscuit, anything, and Notice tetrapod, because I'm a Bombay girl.
Nice. I love the noticing. Your fashion icon.
My fashion icon, Rei Kawakubo.
One streetwear rule you love breaking.
I don't think there are any streetwear rules.
Yeah?
Streetwear has no rules.
Okay, got it. Meenakshi, it's your turn. Your favorite homegrown sneaker brand?
Theli,
Your favorite homegrown streetwear brand?
jaywalking.
3 pieces you would recommend from Capsul?
Outbreak t-shirts, archaic Prodigy bag, and a really nice Carhartt white pant.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
And who's your fashion icon?
I love Feng Cheng Wong. I love her style. I love how she designs her products. Her madness that gets into the innovativeness, 3D products, 3D shoes to 3D bags. I love Feng Cheng Wong.
One fashion rule you love breaking?
I would love to wear a hoodie in like at peak of summer. So like just for fun, sometimes just switch on all the ACs and like wear your hoodie and sit inside that room. I love doing that.
People do that in Bombay.
They do?
Hoodie pehante
Hoodie and shorts and chappal.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just so hot.
Yeah.
Can you like...
There are a few stylists who dress very well. Like sometimes like Lovedeep Gulyani. I love how he puts together streetwear.
Yeah?
Manpreet Kaur. Every time
I love her
steps
style.
into the store, if I meet her, every time she'll surprise you, with what she's wearing. And Arjun Datta also, like both of them inspire each other a lot for sure, and they dress well, very well together. But thank you, Swana, for having us. It was it was a very nice evening spent just like talking real shit.
Yeah.
Your questions were bang on, and it's not like that we have not spoken about these things, like but like just the building up the whole story, and somebody who's watching this show, and for them to understand how small businesses come up and what they can achieve in next 10-15 years, it'll give them a good insight.
Yeah,
So,
that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Meenakshi and Bhavisha. Thank you for giving me your time. And I hope that a lot of people get inspired by you too. It's a very inspirational story. I learned so much from you guys, I think, sitting over here and just chit-chatting with you and having that intense conversation for an hour. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. No, honestly, because we know you now for a while, and it was this. Thank you for making this conversation easy. It's very easy. These questions get asked, but you have your templatized answers. But the answers today have been much deeper. So thank you for creating this space for us to be able to respond the way we did.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope people learn from this.
I hope so.
See you in the hood.
See you in the hood.